Okay. Good. All right, at this time, we'll call the Board of Supervisors meeting for December 12th, 2022 to order. At this time, I'll do a quick roll call. Supervisor Lewis.
Present.
Supervisor Day.
Here.
Supervisor Ayers.
Here.
Supervisor Lyons.
Here.
And Supervisor McDaniel's present as well. We will now have a prayer for the board, followed by a pledge of allegiance. Those attending are not required to participate, but if you'd like to join us, please stand.
Heavenly Father, we ask for your continued blessings on all here tonight and all the residents of Rockbridge County. And as we proceed into the holiday season, we ask special blessings for those that are less fortunate than us and that are struggling during these times. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's one change to the agenda tonight. During general items, right before we discuss CIP, we will be discussing the Modine performance agreement once again. I'll discuss that when we get to it. We will hold citizen comments near the beginning of the meeting. We will do our best to take citizen comments remotely. There are two options for citizens to offer a comment. To join by telephone, you may dial into one of the numbers listed on the county website. The webinar ID and password are there for your convenience. Citizens wishing to simply view the meeting live or after the fact can do so on the Rockbridge County Board of Supervisors YouTube channel, also available on the county website. If you wish to make a citizen comment as a Zoom meeting participant, you will use raise your hand feature. You can press the raise your hand button at the bottom of your Zoom window or press *9 if calling in by telephone. I failed to ask you, is there any other changes to the agenda?
No, sir.
Okay. Recognitions and presentations, Ms. Hope.
I'm going to be doing that.
Okay.
So annually for the past multiple years, or probably 4 years ago, the board implemented a recognition program for staff reaching 5-year milestones in their employment with the county for multiple reasons, but the biggest one is just recognizing staff for their dedication in their work for the citizens of the county. There's a small cash bonus that goes with that. It's $25 for each 5 years of service that is recognized. And this year, we've got several employees that have reached the 5 years. Larry Fridley with Solid Waste and Recycling, 5 years of service. Kevin Moore with Fire and Rescue Department, 5 years of service. Bobby Vess with Parks and Recreation, 10 years of service. I actually have been here 10 years as of October. Donald Ingram, Solid Waste and Recycling Department, 15 years of service. Jason Snyder of the Building Department, 15 years of service. And Kenny Wilson of the Building Department, I believe he's had 20 years of service. So I think I had that wrong in the thing. I'm pretty sure Kenny's 20. Yep. So he was 20, and so that's wrong in the agenda item. But his certificate of recognition is correct, and those certificates will be presented at the employee holiday luncheon this Thursday. We've got 2 sessions so that everybody can attend one of them. So we'll present those this Thursday. I just wanted to recognize those folks.
We certainly appreciate each of them and for their years of service, wisdom and knowledge and ability to help us function as an organization. Any other comments by board members? At this time, we will take citizen comments. Is there anyone signed up wishing to address the board?
Yes, sir. We have a Stephen D. Hart.
When you come forward to the podium, please state your name, magisterial district, and try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Hart.
He's a recidivist. Do we have to get him?
Steve Hart, Cars Creek. 2 data points. Paid my taxes, came back like I said I would. Worked another 100 hours to pay the property taxes times 2. That's 10% of my work year. Got my reassessment. 3 properties I own are +8, +20, and +24%. If I had to buy those today, I could not afford them because my salary has not gone up 24%. When folks that work in an area cannot afford to live in that area, the problem is called gentrification. In our case, it is rural gentrification, which happens different from urban gentrification. Ours is primarily caused by an inflow of outside dollars, where the average salary rate, household income in the county is 2/3 of what it is in the state. But this inflow of outside dollars comes from second homes, from retirees, from speculators, outside owned Airbnbs, things like that. The result is the cost of our housing market is driven by other locations which have higher incomes than we have here. It also decreases the housing supply, which we all know from high school economics increases the cost of housing. Residential properties that are not occupied as full-time residences also take a family out of the community. Non-residential occupied properties do not participate in the life of the community in the same way. They don't coach, they don't volunteer on boards, they don't serve on county appointed boards. They don't buy tires at the tire store. They don't get their car repaired here. They don't go to the doctor here. They don't help drive our local economy. Economic development in our county seems to focus on bringing in new businesses, and I think this is the wrong approach at this point. The businesses here can't hire. Go out and look at the signs. Denovis, VDOT, the company I work for, the co-op, WNL, just go look at the signs. Our unemployment rate is under 3%. It's been going down for the last 12 years, with the exception of the government-caused blip at COVID. Learned in high school economics, anything under 4% structural unemployment. I mean, we have a ridiculously low unemployment. There's nobody here to hire. Go talk to people. Instead of incentivizing a new business, because I know we got new ones coming in, I don't know who they're going to hire. There's nobody here to hire. How about we incentivize homesteading? People that will live here, build here, buy here, work here, stay here, serve here. We need to attract workers and families who are going to be a part of the community at this point. That's what we really need. So here's a crazy suggestion, half thought out, half sun-baked. How about we raise property taxes 400%? Yes, I just said that. Let's raise them 400% times 4. And then off of that new rate, let's give people that live here all year long, full-time, raise their families here, work here, have jobs here, that homestead here. Let's give them the 75% credit off of that rate. Let's incentivize being a part of our community. Let's incentivize living here and being a part of Rockbridge County. This, I think, or something like this could go a long way to alleviating the fact that the cost of our housing really seems to be driven by Richmond, Charlottesville, and places that are not here. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Does anyone else sign up to speak? Is there anyone online wishing to address the board?
No, sir.
Is there any written comments that need to be read in?
Don't have any.
Anyone in attendance didn't have an opportunity to sign up? Okay. All right. We have the November 28th, 2022 regular meeting minutes. Has everyone had an opportunity to review those? Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve as presented?
Sir, I think we did have one that I think you might have wanted to change. We did have one minor thing there that Glasgow Relief Saving and First Aid Crews, Larry Mayo is president of the board, not the chief.
Okay.
I would suggest making that change.
So is there a motion to approve as presented with that change?
So move.
And a second?
I'll second.
All right. Mr. Lyons?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Ayers?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Abstain.
And the chair votes yes. We next have the county financial package, Mr. Harrison.
Yes, sir. Requesting approval of a resolution for our appropriations and the payment of bills for November. The total new appropriations is $45,035, and expenditures for November 22 is $770,062.92. For the year-to-date revenue, is $21,827,043 and exceeding year-to-date expenditures, which are $21,251,882. Something that's going to be coming up, I think will be relatively soon in the spring, is the opioid settlement monies. Ms. Huffman's been staying on top of the legal stuff, and we've been attending different webinars and stuff on the use of those funds. Those are restricted, but that's going to be something I think we're going to have to work together potentially with the localities and put that money to use. But I just want everyone to be aware of that. There's a special fund that we set aside for those funds so that they're not commingled. I just want everyone to be aware that that's going to be coming up. Hopefully in the by late spring. That's all I have.
Okay. All right. You've heard the recommendation for the resolution. Is there any questions, comments, concerns? If not, is there a motion to approve? And a second?
Second.
All right. Mr. Lewis,
Aye.
Mr. Lyons,
Yes.
Ms. Ayers,
Yes.
Mr. Day,
Yes.
and chair votes yes as well. Next up is the change to the agenda. At our previous meeting, we approved the performance agreement resolution by Modine. It was my mistake, my fault. My wife works at Modine. I should have abstained from that. Just wasn't thinking about it at the time. So wanted to bring it back forward to give me the opportunity to abstain. So at this time, is there a motion to reconsider the resolution?
I make a motion to reconsider the resolution.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Lyons,
Yes.
Mr. Day,
Yes.
Ms. Ayers,
Yes.
Mr. Lewis,
Abstain.
and I vote yes as well. At this time, I'll read a statement. I hereby abstain from all matters, discussions, or voting related to the board's consideration of amendments to the performance agreement with Modine Manufacturing Company, and my disclosure statement required under section 2.2-3115F is on file with the clerk of the Board of Supervisors. And I will hereby turn the meeting over to Vice Chair Ayers.
Yes, gentlemen, you see the resolution in front of you to approve an amended performance agreement between the County of Rockbridge, Virginia, the Economic Development Authority of Rockbridge County, Virginia, and Modine Manufacturing Company for the local grant match of the Commonwealth's Development Opportunity Fund grant in the amount of $194,000 for economic development purposes. Is there a motion to pass this resolution?
So moved.
A second? I'll second. Mr. Lyons?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Mr. McDaniel?
I'll abstain.
Mr.
Aye.
Lewis? And I vote yes. And I would like to turn this back over to Mr. McDaniel.
Thank you, Ms. Ayers. All right. Next, we have the draft CIP review. Mr. Harris.
Yes. As a copy has been provided to you. As you are aware, the first meeting in January will be the preliminary adoption of the CIP by the Board of Supervisors to help give staff direction on proceeding with different projects. Of note, if you believe there should be any changes, additions, deletions, please bring that to my attention, and I'll bring that up with the Finance Committee to bring back forth to you all. I want to thank Mr. Lewis for that lawnmower quote was incorrect. So that's been updated to $14,000. The one thing I had mentioned on Friday that we were missing was an updated quote to replace the fuel island canopy at Fleet Services. We got that before you. I think it's roughly $73,000. I've brought it up with the finance committee to consider what year they want to push that up. Potentially moving that up to FY '24 over FY '25, now that we've taken care of the trees. So we don't have that risk anymore. Also, you'll see one of the big things, expenses is the Murat Collection Center for $533,000. We might be able to do that in the current fiscal year. So if that drops off, then we can possibly reconsider moving some others from FY '25 up to FY '24. And those are the large items we have right now. And Mr. McDaniel, you had made a comment on you should set aside some money for a future reassessment in 6 years due to the cost. We have set up a separate restricted assigned balance in the general fund so that we can start setting aside some money there. So it won't be such a big hit in 6 years.
Are there any questions, comments, concerns from Mr. Harris?
Ashton, it occurred to me, it's been going on a while with the fuel canopy. Had we not approved that already?
It was approved in a prior CIP for a future year, and I think that was FY '25.
Correct.
And
Okay.
so you have seen it before. It was
Alright.
just in an out year.
Okay.
But our concern is that we had that line of trees behind it, and you don't want to, it would maybe be a little foolhardy to put up a brand new canopy and have one of those trees come over on it, as evidenced by the fact that a couple days after they quit or they finished cutting the trees, another tree came down on down the line, didn't damage anything, but came on down behind the ball fields. But if that would have happened at a new canopy, we wouldn't be good.
And I appreciate Steve Kingree's quick turnaround on getting an up-to-date estimate on that. But we can bring that up to the, well, I have brought it up to the finance committee to have a recommendation to the board before January on that.
I just wanted to add that question while I was thinking about it. Yes, sir.
And again, just to follow up on the reasoning behind having a provisional adoption, some of these CIP items have an impact on the operational budget. As you'll see, there's a line in each sheet, each worksheet that says, is there any impact to an operational budget? That helps us plan. If provisionally adopt, we can then work those operational costs into the next fiscal year's budget. And if in the fourth quarter of the fiscal year, if we get into that fourth quarter before you adopt the final CIP, in some cases there's some smaller ticket items, $5,000 to $15,000 that we see that we can see savings that we're able to do in the current fiscal year. Then we can pull those off the next year's CIP. And that's what you would see in a final CIP for adoption during the budget public hearing in April.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. So we will look forward to a provisional adoption in January, followed by several months of budget discussion and then final adoption April, May timeframe.
And just as the board is aware, the debt schedule is also included with the CIP so that you can see where current outstanding debt and interest rates and payment schedules, et cetera.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Next up, we have some appointments. Regional Area Tourism Board, Ms. Ayers, term expires 12/31/22. I believe she's willing to be reappointed.
I am.
Is there a motion to approve and second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Lewis,
Aye.
Mr. Lyons,
Yes.
Ms. Ayers,
Yes.
Mr. Day,
Yes.
and Chair votes yes as well. We had the VASAP, Steve Funkhauser, term expires 12/31/22. Sheriff Funkhauser is willing to be reappointed. Is there a motion to approve
Yes. So moved.
and second?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Lyons,
Yes.
Mr. Day,
Yes.
Ms. Ayers,
Yes.
Mr. Lewis.
Aye.
And chair votes yes as well. Next up, we have the VASAP, Spencer Suter, term expires 12/31/22. In his place, he's recommending that we have Mr. Harrison serve, and he's willing to do so. Is there a motion to approve?
Yes.
And a second?
Second.
All right, Ms. Ayers,
Yes.
Mr. Lyons.
Yes.
Mr. Day,
Yes.
Mr. Lewis.
Aye.
And chair votes yes as well. Community Services Board, Ann Ashby McKissick. May have misspoke. I'm sorry if I did.
That's correct.
Term expires 12/31/2022. She is willing to be reappointed. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Lewis,
Aye.
Ms. Ayers.
Yes.
Mr. Lyons.
Yes.
Mr. Day.
Yes.
And chair votes yes as well. Next up, we have Community Service Board, Kevin Kendall, term expires 12/31/2022. Mr. Kendall is willing to be reappointed. Is there a motion to do so?
Yes.
And a second? All right. Ms. Ayers,
Yes.
Mr. Lyons.
Yes.
Mr. Day.
Yes.
Mr. Lewis.
Aye.
And chair votes yes as well. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and do, has everyone had a chance to review the monthly staff reports? Any comments, concerns, questions? If none, is there a motion to approve as presented? And a second?
Second.
All right. Mr. Day,
Yes.
Mr. Lyons.
Yes.
Ms. Ayers,
Yes.
Mr. Lewis,
Aye.
and chair votes yes as well. Is there any board member comments? Anybody have anything for the good of the cause? Mr. Suter, you have anything?
No, sir.
All right, we will take a quick recess. Public hearings will start at 6 PM.
All right, you back?
Yeah, we're back. I wish I had a deputy here. All right, for the public hearing, code amendment to change the ENS land disturbance fees. I believe this is Mr. Suter and Ms. Huffman.
Yes, just briefly, this fall, we re-signed after a competitive procurement process with AMT for outsourced ENS and stormwater reviews, permit reviews. And their costs have gone up since the last terms that we negotiated with them. And staff has suggested changing county code to pass that cost on to applicants. And just to be clear, the board has always, ever since this was first required by the Virginia DEQ, these reviews, the board has not, how do you say, didn't want to make any money on it. So they're passing just the direct cost on to the applicant. And there are two public hearings, one for stormwater and one for ENS land disturbance. This one is for to amend the ENS land disturbance ordinance. And this ordinance was duly advertised after the board approved that at your last meeting. So it's been advertised, and to date, we have not received any comments on either ordinance.
Does anyone have any questions, comments for Mr. Suter?
Do you remember the last time we adjusted these? It seems like it was very recent.
2019, I believe,
Really?
2019.
Seems like yesterday.
Any other questions?
I will remind the board that these ordinances, or at least one of them, does provide for a new fee, which never sounds good, but in this case it is, because it would cut the review fee for some smaller commercial constructions in half, rather than sending them out for $1,000 or what would be $1,200. The fee would be to do it in-house for $500. And again, all these reviews are required under code.
Okay.
So it's Jonathan Griffin noticed along the way that some of these he can do in-house, and he would prefer to do those and save the applicant some money where he can.
All right, at this time, we will open the public hearing. Is anyone signed up wishing to address the board?
No, sir.
Anyone online wishing to address the board?
No, sir.
Anyone in attendance wishing to address the board? All right, and you said there were no written comments, correct?
Correct.
All right, this time then we will close the public hearing. Is there any discussion on the matter? Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right, Ms. Ayers,
Yes.
Mr. Lewis,
Aye.
Mr. Day,
Yes.
Mr. Lyons,
Yes.
and Chair votes yes as well. Next up, we have the storm management fees, the code to amend. Mr. Suter, anything else you want to add to that?
No, the past or the previous report covers this. It's just a separate ordinance.
Is this one also has the smaller fee
Yes.
of $500 as well? So any questions, comments from board from Mr. Suter, Ms. Huffman? All right, hearing none, we'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone signed up wishing to address the board?
No, sir.
Anyone online wishing to address the board?
No, sir.
Anyone in attendance not had the opportunity to sign up? And no written comments on this as well, correct?
Correct.
All right, at this time, we'll close the public hearing. Any discussion on the matter? Questions, comments? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right. Mr. Lewis,
Aye.
Ms. Ayers,
Yes.
Mr. Lyons,
Yes.
Mr. Day,
Yes.
and Chair votes yes as well. All right, is there, I'll circle back. Is there any board comments? Any board members have any comments before we move into closed session? I'd like to take the opportunity just to wish all of our staff and citizens a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And hopefully everybody takes time to reflect and consider all the things that are important in their lives. At this time, we will move into closed session to discuss the following issues as permitted by the Virginia Code 2.2-3711A3. Discussion or consideration of a matter involving acquisition of real property for economic development and other public purposes, where discussion in open meeting would adversely affect the county's bargaining position or negotiation strategy. And also as permitted by Virginia Code 2.2-3711A5, discussion pertaining to economic development concerning a prospective business or industry where no previous announcement has been made of the business or industry's interest in locating or expanding its facilities in the community. Is there a motion to move into closed session?
So move.
And a second? All right, Mr. Lyons?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Ms. Ayers?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Aye.
And Chair votes yes as well. We are now in closed session.